I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. I'm so delighted to have you here. I hope you've been having a great summer. Um, I don't really have anything to report. I've just been working and talking to guests, and yeah, so same old for me, but hopefully you're doing something fun. Anyway, I'm so excited for you to be here today because today I get to talk to Kim Moos. She is the founder of Cotton Cuts. If you have not heard of Cotton Cuts, I strongly urge you to go check it out. She has built such a cool brand. There are fabric and notions and thread available, but what her kind of name to fame is the claim to fame. Yeah, claim to fame is the puzzle mystery quilt along. Puzzle mystery quilt along. There we go. Where each month you receive a clue and it's different cuts of fabric and the instructions for the next section of that quilt. And at the end of the 10 weeks, you get the instructions for how to put all your blocks together to build a really beautiful quilt. So I've been following along with some people who do the mystery quilt, and I just thought it was so cool. And um, Kim and the Cotton Cuts crew were just so kind as to send me a previous clue from a previous project so that I could just try it out and see what it was all about. And I can't tell you how amazing it was just having everything pre-cut, ready to go. The instructions were so clear, lots of great diagrams, and I was just blown away. So if you're looking for something fun to do that's kind of low pressure, low buy-in is in terms of your time, this is great. It took me only an hour to sew everything together that I was sent, and it was like I had to make two of each block set, and they were pretty large. So the fact that everything was cut, I didn't even need to do any trimming. It all just went together like a dream. So anyway, I'm so excited for you to hear from Kim and learn all about how she got this idea. And yeah, it's just a great conversation. So let's get into it. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing very I'm doing very well. How are you, Amanda?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for being
Good.
here today.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I got so excited when your team reached out and was like, "Hey, would you want to have Kim on the show?" And I was like, duh, obviously."
Oh my gosh, that means so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been like I follow Kim over on Mr. Bones Sews,
Mhm.
and I see that she always does the mystery puzzle quilt, and I just thought, gosh, that's so cool. And so when you guys reached out, I was like, oh, this will be so fun because I've been familiar. I've like,
Mhm.
followed along with other people who have done the puzzle mystery quilts. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about that. But before we talk about all of that and how you started this amazing company, I want to know how you even got into sewing and quilting in the first place.
Oh, so I am one of these like early age quilter sewers. So I learned how to sew when I was 8. This was part of
Oh,
like just, we had sewing machines at home. My mom sewed, she made all of our own clothes. That's for me a hard line. I don't make clothes. I had so many clothes made for me as a kid. I don't make clothes, but I learned how to use a serger and a regular sewing machine. And I made my first quilt when I was 13. It was actually a quilt that I gave to one of my friends. And if you look at quilts in the 80s, quillos were very popular.
hmm
Quilts that would then fold into a pillow so you could go to a sleepover. So I made a quilt for a friend. It was super simple, but I mean, it was like super cheap fabric. Because all we had was the House of Fabrics way back in the day when House of Fabrics was a thing. And so yeah, and it was all solids because prints didn't exist and pretty colors didn't exist. But
Yeah.
that was my first quilt I made. And I would say I was a sewer quilter kind of recreationally through college. I actually am a biomedical engineer by education. So I
Whoa.
spent 20 years designing and developing medical devices and pharmaceuticals and doing all sorts of, crazy high-end Fortune 500 company stuff. I was on the leadership team at a pharmaceutical company and traveled all over the world and decided that I wanted to pivot and do something different. And so
Wow.
that was kind of the birth of my business. I realized I was getting to travel to all these exotic places like Shanghai and Moscow and
Yeah.
Tokyo, and I was missing my kids. They were very young at the time. And so I was like, maybe I can do something different and cool. And I know this is kind of morphing into your next question, which is the
No, it's
backstory.
good. It's good.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Yeah, so I spent a ton of time just, kind of what do I want to do, right? I'm at this pivot point where I don't want to stay on my current career path where I had this corporate ladder climbing job where I would spend the next 15 years counting missed birthdays. That was important to me. When I looked at people around me, they knew exactly how many of their kids' birthdays they missed, and that's not the life I wanted to have.
Ugh.
And so I read a Fast Company article about the rise of subscription businesses. And I was like, oh, maybe I can subscribe to something and do something different with my life. And I realized there was nothing in quilting. And so I would
Mm.
say up until that point, I was a fabric collector. I'm not going to say fabric hoarder. I
Yeah.
collected, like I would go to quilt shops and I'd be like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. This is cute. I made a couple quilts. I was always the person that was called to be like, hey, can you make me a baby quilt? I'm like, yeah, when I get back from fill in the blank location, I'll just weave this into my schedule, right? That
Sure,
was that was
sure.
the quilter I was. I didn't realize that the whole designer space, that there's these people that get paid a lot of money to design fabrics. And so when I was building cotton cuts, I had so much to learn because to go from kind of a quilter to a business owner, my mind was blown at the whole textile industry.
Yeah.
And so I decided to create this subscription business based on Stitch Fix. At the time, it was all about preferences, right? So tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. And I was like, we can do that in quilting. Like, I know so many quilters that I can go into a shop with, and what they see as pretty, I don't like, and what I like, they don't like. And I was like, maybe we can do something here. And
Yeah.
so I took 6 months and figured out how to make a website, how to start a subscription box, and how to, be a quilting business. And
Hmm.
I launched my website, and 10 minutes later, I had my first paying customer. She bought a 6-month subscription. Yeah.
Wow. Fancy.
Yeah. So I know. I was like, maybe there's something here. Right. And
Yeah.
so that was October of 2016. So we're
Okay.
coming up on our 9-year birthday from the time I
Yeah.
had that first box. Yeah. From the time she made the first purchase. So yeah. So
What?
that's the how I went from quilting to business owner.
Yeah, that's incredible. And to get a sale so quickly because, some of
Mhm.
us start businesses and we're like hearing crickets while we wait for somebody to
Yes.
buy our stuff or like engage our services. So
I know, I know.
that's
Well, I
so
did a whole
incredible.
bunch of research on kind of putting up a landing page that just said something cool is coming here.
Yeah.
Put your email in. And so
Mm,
before I even launched the business, I had 1,000 emails. And
okay.
so all of those people got an email the day that we launched with the website. The website went live. And so I had a good email list to start from
Yeah.
versus just opening a web page and hoping people found us in the great World Wide Web. So
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. Something cool is
That's
coming. Enter your email address. And so they did.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
like that was such a time, 2016, 2017 area. Like I had been around fabric and sewing my whole life because my mom has always been sewing and I
Hmm.
wasn't much into it, but we would always go to the fabric store and she was always making
Hmm.
something. And, I boutiques was about the like most colorful and like
Yeah.
kind of, even though it was not modern, it felt more modern than anything else that was on the shelves. Like,
Hmm.
so I would always gravitate towards that, just like the bold colors and all that. And so then around that time, around 2016, my mom started quilting finally, and
Hmm.
she showed me some of the Amy Butler fabrics
Yes.
because
Yeah.
her friend was helping her like kind of learn to quilt because she'd always sewn garments and other things. So she had all the skills. She just had never really made a quilt. And so, but once I saw the Amy Butler fabrics, I was like, holy smokes, like this is a whole different world. And then
Hmm.
I got dragged into quilting in
Yes.
2017.
Get
And
dragged into quilting.
I did. I really did. My friends were like, come on, pulling me by my hair, kicking and screaming. And now that's all I do. So anyway, but that time, that like 2016 time, I feel like people were so hungry for something different. So
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure that was a huge part of it. I mean, to have 1,000 emails of just like from you being like, I promise it's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. And they're like,
Something
okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
so yeah, I feel like that was the like people when you wanted something different, right? Because we had big companies and then you had brick and mortar stores, and there was very little in the independent kind of smaller space on the internet. It was
mhm.
just starting to get going, and the concept of a subscription box and quilting was just starting. I think Fat Quarter Shop started like 6 months before we did, and it
Yeah.
was kind of all this new way in which people were learning to shop for fabric online because
Hmm.
you either went to a store or you went to a large company and there was
Right.
no in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, having experienced that because that was around the time I started quilting, I was just
Mhm.
like desperate. And so I
Yeah.
would just, as I was finding people on Instagram or online, I would just, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like freaking
Yes.
out and realizing that I could access all this stuff online. It was
Mhm.
so cool. And so, um, has it, I guess, like, yeah, where were you sourcing your fabrics? Did you talk
Mhm.
with major manufacturers and do you get it directly from them? And how does that work for
Oh,
you?
yeah. Oh, great question. So when I first started out, I knew nothing, right? I didn't, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, my mom owned a quilt shop. And I was like, good for you. I didn't have that
Awesome.
resource, right? Good for
Yeah.
you that you knew what to do. And so being this like teeny tiny little fish, I went to the major distributors and I had to learn that fabric is a long lead time item. So you have to place orders today for fabric you won't see for 6 to 9 months. And of
Hmm.
course, I wanted to start a business like now. And so the first couple months, I literally would just buy whatever was available. And I'd be like, okay, this is new, kind of fits a profile. I had some ideas of what I was looking for, but it was really, I was at the mercy of what was available on the shelf. And then
Hmm.
I went to market. So I launched in October and market was the same month. And I remember being like this teeny tiny little fish. And I went up to Free Spirit and I was like, can I place an or I was like a little kid, right? At
Yeah.
like buying candy for the first time. I was like, can if I give you money, can I buy something from you? Like, and so
Right.
I opened accounts with all I didn't because I didn't know how things worked. And so I opened accounts with all the major manufacturers at market. And I was that person that was like, can I order from you? Can I see what you're showing people? And so I started placing orders there. And I think I was just so intimidated because so many people have minimum opening orders, which actually are not that much. And
They're
I
really
think
not.
as
Yeah.
as when you're starting out, you kind of think like, oh, I have to be a huge company to buy direct from the manufacturer. You do not. It is
Hmm.
such a small amount. And so I applied for accounts at everyone at market and I placed all my opening orders. And then I started moving away from the distributors
Mm.
and started buying direct. And so within the first few months, I was buying direct. I had sales reps that would come visit me. Now, in the early days of Cotton Cuts, we spent about 2 years in my basement. And
Oh,
so, yeah, in my house, like I was supposed to be totally outsourced. We were going to use outside resources. We had some pretty big hiccups with that. Like I had this dream of like never having fabric in my house that lasted for like a month. And then we had to bring everything back to my house. And so we were in my basement for 2 years. I would meet with sales reps at Starbucks.
yeah.
Like they would meet me at Starbucks and they would bring out the catalogs and show me the fabrics. They would meet me at Breadco. They would meet me wherever was
Hmm.
convenient, and that's where I would buy fabrics. And then I started hiring employees and they would come into my basement and start cutting and shipping fabric from my basement. And my husband and I were cutting until like midnight. We both had day jobs and we were cutting fabric until midnight. We watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on repeat like 17 times because we would just stream the episodes right after each other until
Right.
midnight, just cutting fabric and shipping fabric.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Holy
it's crazy.
smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As someone who runs their business out of their home, like it's hard because you have to have the space for it all and find the
Mhm.
time to care for your home and do your day job and also do all this stuff. So
Yes.
I I can only imagine what that was like because
Mhm.
that's just crazy to
I was spending some time in the basement this weekend with some of my business friends, and I was like, yes, we had one die cutter on a table here, and then we would put it underneath, and it would become a cutting table. And we had one rack of fabric, and it was there, and it was like, here was where we queued our cut stuff. And I'm just like, we have something like 35 shelves now, and like 12 die cutters, and just to think like it started so small,
Mhm.
but it's actually really kind of cool too at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool that, like, because I think it is, it's like you see these big successful businesses and you think, well, I have to start there. When
Mhm.
really, no, most of us start in the basement. I'm in the garage. Like,
Mhm. Right.
it's one of those things that's kind of like, unless you can, like, you have to have the big vision, but unless you
Mm.
can figure out how to make it work in a smaller space and work your way there, it's almost like you're not going to get that big goal
Right.
because you're reaching too far outside of And not to say that doesn't happen, because I know some people, they do, they just make it happen. But
Mhm.
I think more often than not, it, we have to start really small and then you can scale. And once you start to scale, it's like, holy crap, like things go
Yes.
really fast.
Affirmative, yes.
Yeah.
So we started a business before, and I think when we started that business, we were too lean. We
Hmm.
like, we were like super like the cheapest stickers, the cheapest packaging because we didn't want to put a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
And so we were super lean. And so it looked a little kind of underserved, I think is probably the best way to describe the
Mm-hmm.
first business. So for this one, I was like, I wanted to make the investment in the packaging and in the presentation and in the experience for what we were doing. So we put a lot of effort in tooling and dies, a little bit of upfront cash investment. It was not a lot.
Yeah.
And for me with the business, every time I would get to kind of a hurdle or a milestone, that's when I would look at like, okay, is it time to pay me? Which
Hmm.
to be clear, I was one of the last people paid. Is it
Yeah.
time to pay me? Is it time to hire an employee or is it time to move out of the basement? Because
Mm.
I was like, okay, the business can sustain a little bit more. What
Yeah.
more are we going to do? And it'd be like, okay, I need to hire an employee. That's the first thing. And so we hired a couple of employees and I was like, okay, the business can take a little more, but
Yeah.
I can't take a 5-year lease. Right. And
Right.
that's another piece, right? When you're in your basement, it's free rent
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
usually free utilities. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
a lot of things that you can, when you're in your basement, you can shoulder. And so I was trying to find a place to move, and it was like, here's this garage with a single roller door, and you get 2 parking spots, and it's a lot of money. And congratulations, there's cockroaches everywhere. And I'm like, I own a fabric business. Like, that's not going to
Yeah.
work.
Can't do bugs. No.
No, for sure not. And sign up for 5 years, which to me, I was like, I don't even know if I'm making it 6 months, much less 5 years. Like,
Right. That's a huge commitment.
so there was a mall that was actually being shut down right down the street from my house, like 2 miles away from my house.
Wow.
And we found super cheap rent. And when I moved in, they were like, we're probably going to tear this place down in 6 months. And I was like, that's great. I don't even know if I'm still going to be in business in 6 months. Like
Yeah.
this could work well for all of us.
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
there for 6 years.
Holy smokes.
And they finally kicked us out, and now the mall is rubble. But we were there for 6 years. And it's just one of those like a creative kind of, I wasn't sure if it'd meet our needs. It ended up meeting our needs and some. And so it was a great decision. It worked out super well for the business. It was great during the pandemic. All the positives that came out of it, we were very lucky and very fortunate.
Yeah. How cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's like you have to be looking for those opportunities, right? Like, I
Mhm.
think if you always tell yourself, we're not ready yet, we're not ready yet. But like you're saying, like, okay, we hit a milestone, now what? We hit a
Mhm.
milestone, now what? If you have those goals in mind, I feel like it makes it easier to move forward because you always know what you're looking for. And
Correct.
I I feel like a lot of times if you've put in the work and the preparation, like those opportunities will show up for you almost
Mhm.
like, hey,
Mhm.
look at this thing. And you're like, oh, because
Right.
you're ready for it, you've been preparing for it, you
Mhm.
can seize that opportunity because you can see it. Or
Right.
if you're just kind of winging it, then it's hard to see those opportunities. But
Mhm. And at the same time, it's also putting it on the in the universe, right?
yeah.
This suggestion to go to the mall, it came from a friend of mine who was only tangentially related, and we were just talking about I was struggling with all these things. I've been looking at property, and she's like, "Well, why don't you try the mall?" And I was like, "Why didn't I think of that? I drive by the mall
Mm.
all the time." And it's one of those sometimes the solution is so obvious, but it takes those other people to kind of kick you in the right direction. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because maybe you see it and you're like, that's crazy.
Hmm.
But then for somebody to actually say it, you're like, okay, so I'm not crazy. It's almost
Yes.
like you need that confirmation of like, oh, I'm not really that nuts. Like
Hmm.
that's something I could do. It's almost like we put it out of our minds as like, oh, I could never. But
Yeah.
other
We are
people,
sometimes the voices internally are our worst enemies. We are our worst critics. Yes. Sometimes you've got to have that sounding board that gives those ideas legs to be able to move in the right direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's, I mean, and you have to have people who can see things for you sometimes too. Like
Mhm.
be that extension of your brain almost like, hey, have you ever thought of
Mhm.
this? And it's like, oh my God, no, but thank you so much.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Exactly. No, this company was not built because I had an idea, right? Like there are lots of people that contribute to everything, and you need to be open to that and open to those the goods and the bad that you hear. It needs to be all received, processed, and then put into the right place.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can attest that the packaging is great.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I was sent an old clue
Hmm.
from, I think you're just the very last one you did. So it ended in
Hmm.
March.
I
Was
think so.
that
I ended in
correct?
April.
Oh,
I think
April.
you were sent
Okay.
a Wild West one that we had the reveal in April.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
okay. So all the pieces were cut perfectly and I didn't have to trim anything. And I built both because it was two of each part and that I had to make, and there were two different parts to make. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually brought up the ones that
Oh, yay.
one of each of what I made. So here's one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fantastic. So this is, I believe, Josie is the name of the
Yeah.
colorway.
Hmm.
Yeah, huh.
And
That's right.
this. So
Fantastic.
I had to make two of each of these, and because everything was already cut to size and I didn't have to trim anything, it only took me 1 hour to
Mm-hmm.
make all of it. So
Yes. Crazy,
um
right?
I was just like, this is the best day of my life because I really genuinely don't like cutting fabric.
Hmm.
Um and just the fact that everything was exactly the right size, it all came out to exactly the size it was supposed to. The only
Hmm.
thing I had to worry about was my seam allowance, and
Yeah.
that was really nice. So you said you have die cutters. So
Hmm.
like, did you start with like a Cricut or a like AccuQuilt?
We went straight to AccuQuilt Studio Cutters.
Okay.
So we've got the big ones. And I remember I bought the first one from AccuQuilt directly, and it was like a
Okay.
ridiculous amount of money. And I bought all the dies. And again, when you're starting up, like every penny matters. And so I bought all
Yeah.
the dies we needed in order to get the first design done. And then the second time you get smarter. And I
Hmm.
learned that there are tons of die cutters available on Amazon Marketplace. And so we have just been acquiring, not Amazon, excuse me, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
On Facebook
Okay.
Marketplace. Yeah, there's tons available on Facebook Marketplace. And so we started acquiring die cutters there. And then it got to the point where like families going on vacation, we're driving to fill in the blank city. Are there any die cutters we can pick up on the way? I mean, we have definitely pulled off the highway and met people on the side of the road type of thing. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's most of those were our early die cutters, were all AccuQuilts and they were all the giant studio cutters. We
Okay.
started to move now into semi-automatic presses. So these are roller presses that do all the cutting for us. They're a machine that we preload with the die, push it through, and it comes out with the die cut pieces.
Okay.
So again, incremental changes, right? You start with the manual, and then now we're on to semi-automatic. So
Okay. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And we do
And
about it's about 1 million pieces a month, I think, is approximately our run rate. Yeah, 1 million triangles, squares, and strips.
whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, it's a lot.
That's that's bananas. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, there's no way they just like sit there with like a hand crank thing one after, because that's like too much. But also, yeah, I was just curious how that worked because
Mhm.
again, like I have an AccuQuilt, but I'm
Yep.
like, there's no way I'm like hand cranking my stuff through.
Well, so we do, there's still right now, right behind me, they're hand cranking still in the shop, right? So there
Okay.
are still some manual cuts, but we're at the point where we've optimized the fabric we cut off the bolt and how we iron it and how we fold it. So we really have very small scrap at the end of our process. And
Nice.
so yeah, they're definitely still hand cranking, but we do have the new presses, which everyone loves. They're a lot more fun to use.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
get a lot more
Fun new,
parts out at a time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, fun new toys. And to keep up with the demand, like I would assume that that kind of
Mhm.
saved everybody time and helped you guys maximize your
Yes.
efficiency and
Hmm. All of that. Yep. Yeah.
woo, that's so crazy.
A lot of
So
triangles and squares.
yeah, I was gonna say it
Yeah.
was like all triangles that came in my pack. I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God.
Yeah.
But they all came together so beautifully. And
Yeah.
um so you do you narrow down, I guess, like how does the process work? So if I were to go sign up for the next
Mhm.
puzzle mystery quilt, like what would that process look like for me?
Perfect. So you would head to the website, cottoncuts.com, and get to the PMQ Get Started page. And so there's a whole rainbow of colorways listed on the website. So that's one of those pieces that's kind of an original Cotton Cuts idea is no two quilters are cut from the same cloth. And
Mhm.
so we know that people want to be able to choose their colorway. We've seen
Yeah.
so many mystery quilts where everyone picks the same fabrics in the same color and you get what you get and you don't throw a fit and everyone throws a fit. So those don't work, right?
Yeah.
The idea of like, hey, everyone's going to really love all of this fabric we pre-chosen. So we always have a choice of colorways. And
Okay.
so it's usually between 12 to 15 different colorways for each mystery. And it's a different design every time. So if you go to the website now, whenever you see this podcast or this video, it'll be a different set of colorways depending on when we're signing up for the mystery. Pick your colorway. You get your choice of two sizes. So there's a small size that finishes 48 by 60 and a
Okay.
large size that finishes 72 by 72. Then we also do border kits and backing and all the things, but really you can sign up and just do either a small or a large. Then each month for 10 months, we mail you the clues if you pay monthly, or we send you a box with everything pre-cut at the beginning if you prepay. And then everyone participates over 10 months. Everyone gets the same clue on the same day. Everyone runs to the Facebook group and posts their finished pieces and parts. And it's a lot of fun. I think it's great for people who don't have a lot of time. So as you mentioned, it's in like an hour a month, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect for me. And I have a lot of time. I'm shuttling kids here, there, and everywhere all across the countryside. An hour a month is perfect amount of time to get done this clue. It also doesn't have a lot of waste, which I know is something that, textile waste is a huge problem in the United States and all around the world. But because it's pre-cut, you don't have any scraps left over, right? And you
Right.
don't have to go buy any more if you're short. And you don't have extra that was only meant for this project that you don't need to find a purpose for. It is the perfect zero waste program. It is
Mhm.
also it's fun for people who like to be mobile and who want to sew in different places. So it's a small project, like you saw, like it's
Yeah.
only this many parts and pieces, and so you can take it if you're traveling or if you're on the road or if you're a snowbird kind of going back and forth. So it has a lot of really good things going for it. In addition to the fact that it's all pre-cut, so you don't have to. So if you're a beginning quilter and you're unsure about cutting and making sure you got those precise cuts, you can just
Yeah.
sit and sew and then make a very complex quilt that you don't have to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was ultimately the the things that stood out to me were, yeah, like everything was packaged so nicely. So if I did
Mm.
want to take it with me over to my friend, because my friends and I get together and sew sometimes, and that
Mhm.
it could be
Yeah.
something I save for those sewing dates, and I
Mhm.
could have it done in the time that, we spend together, because it's not this big, like immense thing all at once. And I love that it's all broken down and that you're
Mhm.
not just building one block at a time. I mean, like I held up and showed I had four pieces, four large
Yes.
pieces. And
Mhm.
um, so to me, I think in my mind, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is going to like cover so much area when I put it together. Like
Mhm.
to me, I think if I was in that process, I'd be so excited to like figure out how that went in, because it would cover a large area of the quilt, the finished quilt size, but also just like seeing different parts come together.
Mhm. Yep.
And like I said, I don't love cutting fabric, and
Mhm.
I get frustrated when things aren't accurate, and that does take a lot of time. And so the fact that like you don't have to do that part is really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, as a not beginner, I've done all the cuts and I've done all these kinds of different kinds of pieces, and I've built a lot of similar types of blocks, but man, I like, and you're right, it wasn't any waste. I didn't have to trim a single thing, because
Mhm.
all the little tags off of like the half
The
square
dog
triangles,
ears.
the dog
Yeah.
ears, they're already gone. And
Yeah.
I was like, these people thought of everything.
Oh my
So
goodness.
cool.
And it's I like it too. So that's why we call it the puzzle mystery quilt, because you made puzzle pieces. It's
Yeah.
not a block of the month. It's not a here's a block, here's another block, put some sashing between them, and that's the quilt. They are truly puzzle pieces that will interconnect with the other pieces you make.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is a lot of fun. We always challenge everyone to take your pieces and put them on a design wall and see who can get closest to the finished design. And I think in the 9 years and the 17 quilts we've done, only 3 people have ever gotten close.
Really?
Yeah, it is hard to solve because you've got to put all these pieces together. And so, yeah, I mean, we try to make it as fun as possible, right? Because if
Yeah.
we're not having fun, why are we doing all this, right? So,
Exactly.
yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the predictability, like it can be great. And I think knowing that all your pieces are going to go together nicely is enough predictability for the project. But I think not knowing what's going to come out of it is
Mhm.
kind of fun and intriguing, because yeah, it's like I would want to know. I like my two pieces that I got were very different sizes, and I was like, oh. And it's like, these are just two parts. And I was like, oh, as I was reading through the instructions and trying to understand, I'm like, how are these going to go together? And it's like, they're not,
Mhm.
haha. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We're like, you're going to put piece one next to piece four, next to piece seven, next to piece six, and then the next row is totally different. So,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of, did you ever watch New Girl?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
And when,
Adorkable. Yeah.
yeah, when Winston, I always am like, because I just spew like the weirdest shit out of my mouth when I do puzzles.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And it just reminded me of the Winston like puzzling episode where
Hmm.
he's like, I wonder what it's gonna look like. And Schmidt's like, it's on the box. And I'm
It's
like,
on
no,
the
but this is
box.
like truly, I don't know what it's gonna look like. So the whole time I'm like,
Yes.
puzzling, just like singing to myself while I'm selling.
I love that. That show was awesome. That show was
Yeah.
really good. But yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you like sewing it together because I saw on yours like you had flying geese pieces, which can be pretty intimidating, but I'm sure those geese came together perfectly fine for you because it was all
Yeah.
pre-cut. Yeah, that's one of those things I cannot believe I struggled with flying geese as much. And in your pieces, by putting the flying geese together, you actually made arrowheads.
Hmm.
Like it is bonkers how easy that was. And your points look fantastic, by the
Thank you
way.
so
Like,
much.
yes.
But that's the thing is like all the cuts are accurate. I don't have to mess
Mhm.
with like trimming anything down or hoping that my squares aren't crazy. And
Mhm.
yeah, they did. They went together so nicely. And I was like, oh my God, I just made a flying geese. And it was so
Yeah.
fast. And I mean, I've made millions of them at this point. No, probably not
Mhm.
millions, but hundreds and hundreds
Plenty. Yeah.
at this point. And
Mhm.
I still hate making them. So the
Yes.
fact that they were so easy to come together, I was like, oh damn, this is so nice.
And I have tried all this like 8 at a time and no waste and cut it bigger and then spend 17 hours of your life trimming them down. And I've done a lot of these PMQs and those flying geese come out perfectly every time. Like I
Yeah.
don't have to stress about anything with my flying geese on these parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it went together really nice. And yeah, all my points are so crisp. And I was like, oh, okay. I could get used to this.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
funny.
fantastic.
Do you use like the same um like fabric designers time over time, or do you kind of try to mix it up each
Mhm.
year?
Oh, great question. So, the actual PMQ is designed with my design partner in New Zealand. So
Okay.
she's the one that comes up with the design. She's the one that breaks it down into the parts and she does all the instructions for us.
Oh, wow.
Then she takes that design and she models it in whatever collections are available at the time we ship. So depending on the calendar of fabric releases, because we order so much, we have to make sure that we're aligned on what's being released. And so we're
Okay.
usually matching what's available to the design. It actually, there's a lot of science that goes into picking fabrics that can be die cut because you don't want anything that's directional.
Right.
Otherwise, people will go wonky if you got like lines that are cut crooked.
Yeah.
We used to think that we couldn't do anything that was too large a scale. And
Mm,
actually, what we found is people like if we have like a unicorn print, they get a unicorn butt that's die cut on their triangle. Like they love unicorn butts. Like
mm-hmm.
this is a thing. People would post
Mm-hmm.
pictures on like, look at this perfectly die cut part for me. And so when we pick, so I'm the one that makes the decision on what colorways we actually finalize on. And so I usually like to pick, like, we want to have a masculine print. We want to have a couple batiks. We like to
Mhm.
have some jewel tones, some pastels, something that's more modern, something that's more traditional reproduction. And so, depending on the releases, it's a lot of chess, right? Because you have to be like,
Mhm.
what is available? And you're like, oh, that's not available. It's yet, so we can't use it. Or
Right.
that's too old and there's not enough inventory. So it's a lot of kind of complex chess pieces of what's
Yeah.
available and what looks good in the final design. And what we're always so impressed with is when we see these designs laid out in front of us, the same exact quilt design makes very different quilts depending on fabric placement. And
Hmm.
so some in this one, like certain design elements will pop, and in this one they recede. And so it's just interesting to see how people are making the same quilt but they're based on their fabric choice, certain design elements pop and certain others don't. And so people will be at a retreat putting these together and they put their quilts up on a wall and they'll be like four and they look like four totally different quilts, even though it's all the same design in the same process.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that makes so much sense though, because it does depend on like what's getting cut out of the fabric and where in the print is it.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you're making things in different colorways, obviously the quilt is going to look different, but that's so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've seen like Tula in there. I got Lori Holt's
Mhm.
fabrics. I mean, I've just seen like such a variety. So I thought, oh, that's
Mhm.
so cool. And
Yeah. It's
then
opportunistically whatever is available. So, and at the same time, we also if I'm finding that we don't have that many new releases, we do go to some of the manufacturer's basics. So we have like taken a Cafe Classics and we'll be like, okay, let's do a Cafe Blue, for example.
Mhm.
And those we like because since they're a basic, there's a ton in inventory. And so we don't have to worry about being short. That's one of those things for us is signups happen really fast for us. We just had a sign up at the end of May and some colorway sold out within like 20 minutes.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when that happens, I like to be able to call manufacturers and say, hey, can I get more of fill in the blank? And I love it when they say yes, because we get to include more people. I hate telling people no. And so we want to make sure that we're also making sure we can get stuff that people like and can get more of it. So
Yeah. That's,
it's a whole game.
yeah. Yeah. I'm sure
Hmm.
that's got to be tricky
Hmm.
because, yeah, like, yeah, what's available? How much can you get? If it sells out super fast, can you get more? Like,
Yeah.
even if you think you're preparing ahead, you probably are always like, oh, shoot, I was
Yes.
not expecting that, like
We
there's
did
always
not see
probably,
that coming.
yeah, surprises for you.
Yes, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Um, oh, I had a question that just left my head. Oh, I was gonna ask, so you have your designing partner in New Zealand, and
Mhm.
so is she making samples? Is anybody else making samples to kind of test out the flow
Oh,
of things?
yeah, so she has two pattern testers in New Zealand, and then we test each pattern here. And my employees, we put together, I think each design maybe 4 or 5 quilts, and then we
Okay.
always have those in the reveal. So yeah, it's a
Okay.
fast cycle though. So like for example, we just started signups in May for a design. I'm already picking fabric collections for a design 6 months from now.
Right.
So like I'm shopping for the fabric for something that won't launch until the end of the year. So it's this, we're constantly like on this roller coaster of we just finished one, we've starting one, and then we've got one in the coming. It is,
Yeah.
yeah. If I was to redesign the business again, I might do it a little differently, but it keeps us
Yeah.
very busy.
Forever and always planning
Yes.
ahead because I mean, if you're not, then your business is gonna die. So like what are you gonna do
Mhm.
about it?
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
So how so you said you just finished one just finished. You
Mhm.
had the signups just in May for this latest one. So then the next
Mhm.
signups are going to be at the end of this year?
Yes. So the next signups will be the signup days are always the same.
Okay.
Always the last Friday in May and then the first Friday in December. And so we
Okay.
do it twice a year. It's that day, every year. It'll be the last Friday in May, first Friday in December. And then the
Okay.
reveals where we have like a big like hour-long show and we have guests and people who have sewn and it's a crazy hour-long production. Those always happen the last Friday in April and then the first Friday in November.
Okay.
I'm a big pattern, like we gotta be consistent and predictable. So
Yeah.
that'll always be that cadence for us.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's so smart too, because then you can build a consistency for your customers as well. So they can
Mhm.
finish one, be ready to start with the next one, or they know they can wait and do
Yep.
the winter one again
Mhm.
and work into spring. So they don't have to wonder, like, oh, I wonder when the next one's coming out. Like, no,
Mhm.
it's we know when. And
Yes.
for me, I love that because when people are like, oh, this is going to release, I'm like, oh, when is it going to be? And then it'll leave my head because I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's like a random day, but consistency is so nice.
Yep. And our shipments are always first Friday, last Friday. And whenever someone posts in our Facebook group, like, hey, when does Clue fill in the blank? People are always like first Friday, last Friday. Like they've got it. Like it's just so routine. And it's
Yeah.
easy when we're as consistent as we are too.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's great. And
Yeah.
probably helps business flow easier too, because you know
Mhm.
exactly every time. It's like those
Yeah.
dates don't change. So everybody be ready. Like they don't, your
Yes.
employees don't have to wonder either,
Hmm.
which I think is probably so nice for them, I would guess.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because we have the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, but we have other subscription products. And so we have folks that work part-time. And so depending on when like our Java ships, they may
Mhm.
never touch Java for 6 months. And then all of a sudden they're in the shop on a day it's packed and they get to pack it. So it's just one of those it takes about 3 hours. And if you're not there that day, you don't get to pack it. So it's a quirky little business, this little cotton cut stuff.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But it sounds so fun. And you
Yes.
offer so much more than the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, which
Hmm.
is so cool. But also, like, there's tons of fabric available, notions, other subscriptions, like you said. And
Hmm.
so it's just a fun, your website's so fun to explore and check out because
Oh,
there's so much stuff to see. And
you. Thank you.
I loved that. I loved kind of going through it and being like, oh, I wonder, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? And just checking everything out and clicking around and just seeing what there was to see. So,
Mhm.
um, no, I love that. And the consistency and of things. Yeah. Unpredictability drives me nuts. So
Yes.
when
Mhm.
things are a little chaotic, I tend to like crash out. So
Yeah.
I love, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I guess once you left the mall, then what was your next step as far as were you able to buy property? Do you just still rent? Like what were the steps
So
there?
in theory, I wanted to buy a place, right? Because you want to buy a place and pay rent and all the benefits to buying. But we couldn't find a place that would be big enough for us that we could buy where the rent would be affordable for the company, right? The last thing we
Mhm.
want to do is, own a building that the company goes bankrupt living in.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we found again in the like sea of all the places I looked at, it's just again 2 miles past the mall, so real close to my house there's this kind of warehouse in a major retail area that is not zoned for retail. So you
Oh.
can't put anything retail in here, even though on like the left, right, and all around us, it's all like the big box. It's called the
Mm.
Valley in St. Louis. And so we're in between a gymnastics location, a place where kids, do gymnastics training and have
Mhm.
gymnastics birthday party, and then another place called Go Play, which is an under five kind of bounce house area.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
great for us to be between these two locations because they have people on the evenings and weekends, and we
Mhm.
don't. So
Right.
like the parking lot is totally empty for us during the day when my
Mhm.
employees are here. During the summer, it's different. We're learning what summer is like here. But
Yeah.
during the day, it's just us in the parking lot. And then they're here in the evenings and weekends. And if we try to work on the weekends, the parking lot's full, but that's okay because we don't do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Wow.
it's been a great. So we've been here about a year, just a giant warehouse space, and
Okay.
we'll be here for 5 years. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah,
Like we signed a lease, we have to. No.
yes, exactly.
No, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think that the like finding a place can be probably the hardest part of starting a business of like, do you have
Mhm.
enough room in your home? First of all, can you start
Yeah.
this with nothing? But also then when you're ready to scale, just finding a place that suits what you need, but also value wise, like, can I pay this? Can my business pay
Mhm.
this? Like, yeah, for the next
Mhm.
5 years, is it scaling
Yep.
enough? Is it growing enough that that money I can count on that to happen? Because like breaking a lease is, especially a commercial lease, is crazy.
Yes, horrible. It's horrible. Right. No, it's
Millions
absolutely
of
fair.
dollars.
Yes, it is a chunk of change. And so I think that's where, as you're making these steps, as your business grows, as creative as you can possibly be. So, like, if you're moving out of your house, subletting from someone who has extra space is always a fantastic idea. If you've got someone who is, downsizing and they just want to rent out like a back corner or a section and you can pop in there, that is a fantastic kind of low hurdle place just to kind of get out and test, right? Sublease it from someone else. If you can buy out someone's lease, right? If say, for example, they can't stay for 5 years in a place, that's also a
Mhm.
great place to go. And then also there's a lot of spaces for lease in like churches. So there's like the entire basement of a church that's down the street from my house. We looked at it of
Mhm.
possibly moving into this basement of a church, which is, I mean, again, during the day, during the week, we could totally use that space. And it's
Right.
just whoever has space at a price that's affordable to you. You don't have to go and put on the big kid pants and sign the 5 year lease and
Right.
deal with, the single roller garage and all the bugs, right? There's
Mhm.
other creative ways to get what you need. It's just how big are you willing to think?
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if it was that way for you, but I think sometimes it's hard to like let myself think beyond where I'm at now because I'm like, I don't know who I am in that position. Like, I don't know who
Mhm.
I am in that role with that big of a business kind of thing. I don't know if that was something you
Yes.
encountered.
So I am a calculated risk taker, right? So that's why the mall was great. Like they were like 6 months. I'm like, that's great. And I'll figure it out in 6 months if I need to do something else, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm always kind of incremental, like test. Is it
Hmm.
working? Okay, then we keep going. Is it not working? We bring it back and we go in the other way. And so,
Hmm.
as I was looking at, right, moving out of the basement was a big deal, right? Like,
Yeah.
can the baby that you've built survive if you throw it in the deep end of the lake without a buoy, right?
Yeah.
And so, do it in a risk fashion that you can accept and then keep growing. And I know that, for me individually, as we've grown, I've always asked myself and my employees, like, if we added a zero to the end of that, if instead of 500, it was 5,000, what would we do differently? Right.
Hmm.
While we're in the 500 phase, what would happen if we added a zero to that? And we start thinking about, as things get bigger, as we grow, we've already laid a little bit of that foundation. We're already thinking that way. So it's not
Hmm.
such an abrupt, like, oh gosh, all of a sudden the pandemic hits and our business doubles overnight and we're not ready for it because we've already been thinking that way.
Yeah.
And so if we
Yeah.
added a zero to the end of that, this month we're shipping 300 of X. What happens if we ship 3,000? What things would we do differently? We're already thinking that way. So when it happens, we're ready for it.
Yeah. You're already asking that question and
Hmm.
solution finding for when that does happen. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
when this happens, are we going to be ready for it?
Yep, exactly, exactly.
No, I love that. And it's a good thing in all aspects of life, I think, to kind of think like, okay, if this happens, then what will I do?
Hmm.
And to kind of try to think ahead and plan for those things. And it can be so easy to get lost in the sauce and kind of fret, I think, about,
Yes, to get stuck in the daily. What fire is today?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
And I think that's where for me personally, I get stuck is like in the daily, like I have all this stuff to do today.
Hmm.
And then, if my husband's like, oh, ask me a question future wise, I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, yes, I do. Calm down. Like,
Hmm. Well, and I
so,
think early on, I learned the concept of working in your business versus on your business.
mhm,
And so that was I was asked to actually measure how much of my time I'm spending in my business, like doing the stuff in my business
yeah.
versus on my business, which is thinking about the strategic planning and big, what big rocks I want to do. So in versus on was a huge mindset shift for me because I was at one point 100% in and nothing on. And so I had
Okay.
mentors who were like, we got to get you out of there. We got to get you actually like forward thinking about your business and, what's next and what's next and what's next. And so that just mindset shift of me stopping and I'm like, am I in the business or on the business? Which am I
Mm,
in today was actually a real big kind of kick that I needed to get out of here's the daily fire that I have to be in charge of.
yeah. Oh, that's smart. People are so smart.
I didn't come up with it. I found
Yeah,
people, they told me it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too. Is like, what if you who is in your circle, who's around you, and who's whispering in your ear, kind of thing. Like, what voices are you hearing when you're making decisions, or when you're thinking about, or if you're working on your business, like whose voices in your head, kind of thing. And um, I think that can be hard to recognize too if you're not practiced at like knowing what your own voice sounds like versus outside influences, and like knowing if those outside influences echo are maybe like a braver, bolder extension of your own inner voice versus
Mhm.
like maybe a negative voice that still lives in there from someone that you encountered earlier on in your life,
Yeah.
like that can be kind of tricky too. I think, I don't know. I
I
just,
think I think sometimes for entrepreneurs, people that have started their own business, the only other people that can truly help them are other entrepreneurs.
yeah,
Like this is not something, my husband or my neighbors, like they just don't understand. It's very different working for someone else versus building the business and being accountable for payroll and, insurance and all the things that
yeah,
we have to do. I think that my most successful people that I've always surrounded myself with for this business have been entrepreneurs that are
mhm,
at a similar stage that I am. And that to me those have been the voices that have been the most meaningful and the most impactful. And the mentors that I have grown the most from in this business
yeah,
are the people that are former entrepreneurs. Because the life we have chosen in starting our own business is very unique.
yeah,
And it's very hard to
absolutely.
understand. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thankful, like, because my husband's this, like, he loves to start businesses. That's like kind of his jam. And that's
Mm,
really, he's the reason why I was able to, because he was just like, yeah, quit your job, do the
mhm,
business full time, like start a podcast, do what you want. If
mhm.
I'm like, I want to do this, he's like, okay, why aren't you? I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mm." I don't know. I
That's
wanted to
great.
ask. He's like, what am I, your dad? He's like,
Yeah.
just do it. You're a grown woman. You can make your own choices. But, he's always good to bounce ideas off of too, because he sees things I don't. But yeah, it is very unique. Because then if I go talk to like one of my friends who doesn't own a business, they're just like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, your
Well,
neighbors are like, yeah, I went to work this week. I got home at 5 and, watched television. You're like, what's that? Like I
like,
work after 5. Like
cool.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Must be
Yep.
nice. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I think that's
Yep.
also part of it is you have to be willing to accept like you're not gonna live the idea of what's sold to you of what a normal life is. Like you're
Mhm,
gonna have 18-hour days sometimes. You're gonna have 3-hour days sometimes. But as an
mhm.
entrepreneur, that's just how things go. And you just have to be you have to work when the work is there, and you have to work on your business when it's time to work on your business, and you have to work in your business when it's time to work in your business. But
Yep.
there's no like prescribed 8 to 5 for you. Like you're building that for other people, but you don't get that.
Yes. Man, my boss is real hard on me.
Yeah, my boss is a jerk. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm so nice to myself. I give myself a lot of breaks.
That's good. That's good. That's a good skill.
Yeah, right. I
Mhm.
learned the hard way. It's fine. But yeah, do
Mhm.
you find like that you're like, are you willing and able to give yourself time away? And do you feel
Mhm.
like you've built enough team around you who understands the assignment that you can go, okay, you guys have this. I'm going to go take a vacation now.
Yes. So I am good at the week long. Like I can do a week
Hmm.
easily. Like the team is ready. Like they know what they're doing. Like a week. And so I didn't get there easily. And so what I was told again by a mentor was take a day and just take one day and just don't go to work and see what breaks, then fix that. Then
Yeah.
take another day and see what breaks and fix that. Then take another day and see what breaks and fix that. And so before you know it, then you're doing 2 days and
Hmm.
3 days. And so that's how I was able to get up to like comfortably a week. Now, in an ideal world, I would love if that was like a month. I've been gone 2 weeks before. 2 weeks is a stretch. And I feel like just the by the nature of what we do a lot of stuff and it's very fluid and changes. Two
Hmm.
weeks was hard. I would love to get to a month, but that's kind of a lot of things broke at 2 weeks. Okay, so let's dial it back. Let's come back to a
Yeah.
week and see how it goes. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but so for example, like I am in and out of the office and like the team knows when they start the day what they're supposed. So I am not worried about like, hey, I've got a meeting here and I've got to leave for an hour. Like they just keep doing what they're doing. Everyone knows what they're
Right.
supposed to do.
They're not relying on you to dictate every
Mhm.
move they make every day.
Nope.
That's
Nope.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Good
It's
job.
good. No, so take a day, take one day and see what happens. See what breaks, then fix that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think too, well, for you, it's probably different, but just because you have consistency that needs to be met and you're mailing things out at a certain time and you have lots of kits to make and all that, but just kind of the idea that like the world isn't going to end if something takes a little bit longer to get to because you really did need time. It's like I'd rather like I guess kind of let somebody be slightly disappointed that like they didn't get their quilt on the exact day that they wanted it. If it's not like I need it by this date because of XYZ, if it's not like one of those situations for me at least, that's like, very specific. And I'm like, yes, I can have it to you by that date specifically. If I'm just like, oh, it's within the window I gave them. And if they're a little antsy because they're used to getting things faster, that's not my problem.
Yeah,
Like
that's an Amazon created problem,
yeah,
right? Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, when people hand me a king size quilt and they want it long armed and finished by the next day, I'm like, oh honey,
Yeah, I know.
that's not how it works here.
That's it feels so good for you, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, so I mean, in my corporate career, one of the projects I worked on was radio pharmaceuticals, right?
Mhm.
That's legit. Like if you miss a plane and it sits for 24 hours, like someone's healthcare will be impacted, right?
Yeah.
That is real urgency, right?
Right.
Fabric for quilts, it'll be okay. And
Yeah.
I'm super sorry that the post office lost. And I wish I could drive to your post office and pull your package out and hand deliver it to you, but I can't. And it's on the way and it'll get there eventually. Everything is always eventually found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think kind
And
of
if it's not, we replace it. Like we're like super big on that. Like we want you to finish these projects. So we'll replace it at our cost. That's part of our cost doing business. But at the
right.
same time, like it's coming. I promise you. We're not holding your mail intentionally. Like it's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it takes a lot of like acting in good faith too, like understanding like there's gonna be hiccups, but then like also knowing like, yeah, we might have to eat the cost of a kit sometimes because there's other things at play, but it's like never your intention to disregard someone or like
Mhm.
make them feel left out. It's just like, yeah, there was a
Yes.
snag that's out of our control, but here's something we can control, and we'll send you out a new one, and then you
Mhm.
can have your stuff. Like,
Yeah, and systems break. Like, I
yeah,
mean, that's real. Like systems break. I mean, Facebook goes down, right? And that's one of the biggest systems in the world. Systems break, and sometimes things get charged and shipped, and things will fix it.
right.
Everyone's gonna fix it. Everything will be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It does, I think it teaches you to kind of relax too. Like for me too.
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's not that serious. It's just a quilt. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I take it seriously. I take it
Yeah.
seriously, but it's like I'm not holding someone's life in my hands. I'm not, making crazy life-saving pharmaceuticals. I'm not,
Yeah, right. It's just fabric.
it's fabric. It will
Yeah.
get quilted. It will get done. Your box will arrive to you with your fabric intact. Like it
Mhm.
will be okay. And no one's going to get harmed in the process, hopefully. Knock on
Yes.
wood.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if you're giving in your case, a quilted gift to someone and it's a day late for a birthday, everything will be okay.
that person's not going to hate you. And if they do, then maybe they
Yes.
don't deserve that quilt.
I know. I know.
I
Dirty
hate
little
to say it.
secrets.
I
Yeah.
know, right? Like, shh, don't say it too
Exactly.
loud because you don't want to scare them, but
Exactly.
it's going to be fine.
Everything will be fine. Yes.
I love that. Um, well, okay, what was I going to ask? Okay, so you said people can do week to week, which what I received was what you would just get, or not month to month, sorry.
People can do month to month.
Month
Yes,
to
which is
month,
what you got. Yes.
not week to week, sorry. Month
Yeah,
to
I was gonna
month.
say week to week.
You're
Oh
like,
my
I'm sorry,
God,
ma'am.
lady.
Do you know who you're
Like
talking to?
like week to week.
No,
Woof. No,
no,
no.
no, no, no. Month to month. And so what
Yes,
I received is what someone would get if they did it monthly like that.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like a skinny, like mailer that had everything bagged, all the fabrics were
Mhm.
bagged and the instructions um and that was so nice. Everything was nice and smooth and flat and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was so great. And then so if they receive it all up front, do
Mhm.
they get just like what I mean, yeah, I guess
What
is
is
it
it?
like is what I got typical of what other people would get or
Yes.
okay.
So what we do is if you prepay, so if you pay all at once, rather than shipping you 10 individual packages and you having to wait each month for mail and delays and all that things, is we actually package it like a box of Legos.
Mm,
And so inside each one, there's a plastic bag like you got, and it has a sticker one on it. Has no instructions. And
okay.
then it has a sticker and it says two, and a sticker that says three. And so what happens is we have what we call an evidence locker, which is a web file service, and we put clue one up in there. Like the day we mail
Oh,
it, so that it goes up, and you also get an email and like, hey, here's clue one. And so you can sew immediately. You don't have to wait for the postal service to deliver your clues. You just go to your box and you grab one and you grab your instructions and you can sit and sew the same day that it releases. So
hmm.
first Friday, last Friday.
Yeah,
And then the same thing repeats. And then you get clue two and you grab your clue two, you get the digital delivery of the clue, and then you can sit and sew. So it's the exact same thing, but it's more, for people that are like, oh my gosh, the clue just dropped today and I don't want to wait, up to 10 days for the mail carrier to bring me. They just grab the clue, they grab the fabric, and it's the exact same fabric. So
right.
everyone's still sewing the same thing. It's just a simplified process for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think economically it makes sense too because you're not shipping
Yes.
multiple packages all the time. It's just here's
Mhm.
everything and then you can get access to. But I
Yes.
don't know. I know there's people who, they choose one option or the other for whatever reason, but I guess for
Mhm.
efficiency's sake, I would want everything to know I had everything up front so that I wouldn't have to wait because I'm antsy like that.
Exactly. Well, and I think for me, like I would forget it. I'd be like, wait,
Oh,
what day is it? I'm the person
mhm,
that's like, what, are we supposed to get clue six now? Like, and I'm like, when it shows up, I would sit and sew it. So, but
right.
I do like that it's all in one place. It comes in a super convenient box. So for example, you have clues now, right? So
Hmm.
if you have those, you would be able to put them back in the box, back in whatever bag they came out of. And then when you go to finish it, everything's in a box and it's all there for you.
Ooh, that's super nice too. Cause I was like, how would I keep track of this? And obviously in the pamphlet that comes with it, it's like mark, make sure you
Label
label
these
your,
this
yeah,
section. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm,
I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. And,
mhm.
um, because obviously you thought of it, because it's
Ah,
like one of the most well thought out things I've ever experienced. So I
oh my
just like
gosh. Thank you, Amanda.
wanted
That's really
to,
kind.
yeah, just like
Thank you.
express that, because having made a lot of different patterns from a wide array of pattern designers and planners, I'm just like, this was a no-brainer. So,
Oh, yay.
um, and yeah, answered most of I mean, all my questions were answered as far as like on the maker side of like me making this clue. All the questions I had were answered within the materials that were given to me. So
Oh, yay.
that was fantastic.
Great.
Um,
That's because we learn every time. We're like,
right,
okay, so many people are asking this question. We should put it the place. Like we want you guys to be, we don't want you to get it on a Saturday and
right.
send us an email and then wait until Monday to get an answer. Because if
Yeah.
you're sewing on a Saturday, that might be the only Saturday you get to sew in a month because
Hmm.
you're here, there, and everywhere and you got trips or kids like my kids everywhere. That
Yeah.
might be the only time you have. And if you miss it, that is like catastrophic. And so we want to make
Bummer.
sure
Yeah.
that you have everything you need and can get everything you need as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love just how like well thought out it was, and
Mhm.
everything was just explained within in that the materials that came in. I'm like, I know I'm not the only person who's asked that question, obviously. So I'm like, let me just check. I read, I was like, oh, yep, bullet point 3, it says right here. Like, so great. So, but just the idea of having to like manage that. So I
Mhm.
was kind of like, oh, I'd have to keep track of these and like not lose them in the abyss that
Mhm.
is my sewing studio. So the fact that like ordering or prepaying for all of it ahead of time, you've got one central place that everything is. You
Mhm.
can keep it there in the box that it comes in, and
Mhm.
that just for my chaotic self, like that seems like
Yeah.
the right answer. But I'm sure there are people who want to just build
Oh.
it one at a time and get it as it
Mhm.
comes. And I don't know.
So we always ask our folks, how are you storing your clues? Right.
Hmm.
And so I think the most creative answer I got was early on. Someone went to their local pizzeria and got a clean pizza box, like one that hadn't had a
Oh,
pizza in it. And so then they took that cardboard box, it's about the right size, kept all their pieces flat. You didn't have to fold anything. And then that's what went on their shelf and they marked on the outside what mystery it was. And you can find a pizza box in your sewing studio. I hopefully could find a pizza box in my sewing studio too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
smart.
I know.
How cool.
Quilters
Yeah.
are creative people.
Super creative. Yeah,
Yes.
for real. You have to be. Like there's no way around it. If you are a sewing, if you sew at all, you're a creative person. So
Mhm.
nobody
Yep.
can argue.
Yeah.
People try, which I'm like, why would you say that you're not? Like you're literally so creative. I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking
it's
about.
the imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Yes, it
Yeah.
exists. I've made a mistake. It's because we have the unfortunate quilting police, which are very quick to point out errors, and so people don't feel they're as creative as they actually are. But I think if you have cut apart fabric and sewn it back together and made literally anything, creativity done.
Yeah. You did
Mhm.
it. Good job.
Mhm. Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, good. Creative, check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. I love that. So I guess, I mean, is there a world where you're not in working in the business anymore? You've retired, you've kind of
Oh my gosh, I'm
walked
so
away
far from
from it?
retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm done with this ride yet, right? It's one of
Okay.
these, it was kind of a fun little side project that I started. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll know when I know, but I'm not quite ready for that yet. So,
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear. I mean, and
yeah.
not to say that it would just go away because you decided to step away, but
Mhm.
I just didn't know if that was in your purview, or if you're just like, no, I've got more time left in me.
I think I've got more time. I think I have more left to give. I think we have more left to do still.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. We're guaranteed
Yeah.
more puzzle mystery quilts, more fun projects and fabrics. And
Hmm.
I just, like I said, I've followed along with other people who have done the puzzle mystery quilts and seen what
Hmm.
they've done. And I've just always been intrigued. And so it
Yeah.
looks so fun. And as someone who struggles to find time to sew for myself,
Hmm.
I just loved the concept that like I was like, how long is this really going to take me? Because I sat down and I timed myself because I was like, I just want to know. And I wasn't rushing. I wasn't trying to be crazy. I even had to seam rip a spot because I put a triangle in backwards, and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, that's cute. And it still only took me like just like an hour and 3 minutes or something like that. So
Hmm. Yeah.
that felt really nice that I could accomplish something in such a short
Hmm.
amount of time, and I didn't feel like I was taking away from anything else or like I was putting anything else on hold to sit down and sew this huge project. And the fact that it can come together month by month and not have to be done all at once is also kind of like I don't have to sit and schedule hours and hours at a time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because I've
So,
done some of these more complicated ones, and I'm like, this is a lifetime achievement project. I am never going to get done. The number of hours of my life it's going to take me to do this project, it's not worth it. I don't enjoy it at that point. I
yeah,
like being done, and
yeah,
I like that this is, I can get to done. I see a clear path on how to get there.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. And thanks to your designer in New Zealand, I mean, she's
Yeah.
knocking it out of the park. This is
Yes, she
amazing.
is. We love Sheila very much. She is a fantastic partner for us.
Well, thank you, Sheila.
Yeah.
And well, obviously we missed the current one, but so December, the first Friday in December,
Mhm.
we're gonna
So,
look.
well, so the ones that's signing up now, so depending on when people see the podcast,
Uh-huh.
so we always sign up for 3 months or through Clue 3, right? Because people will get that and be like, oh my gosh, they'll show their friends and their friends want to sign up. So we shut down
Oh,
signups after Clue 3. So for the one we're signing up now, Under the Sea, it's going to close July, August, September. So end of September.
okay.
And then we cut it off. We're like, we can't take any more. We got to get ready for the next one. And then that's
Yeah.
what starts in December.
Okay. So people have
Yeah.
until September to sign up for the current one.
Yeah.
And then if you want to just start fresh, like right at the start, you can sign up
In
December.
December. Yep. And then that'll
Yes.
ship in February. Yeah. Same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
that's so good to know.
Hmm.
Um, and I love that you give people an opportunity to join the bandwagon because I
Hmm.
think it can be kind of like, I don't know. But if you see it and you're like, wait, I already love it, and you
Hmm.
want to join, then you didn't miss out. There's no FOMO
Well, because
here.
we've all been there where our
Yeah.
friend shows us something and we're like, oh, we missed signups like by 2 weeks, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
and I never want to say no to someone because of something silly like that. So we're like,
Yeah.
we can make it work internally here. And we, for the first 2 months, we're constantly like, we do, okay, here's all our makeup clues, here's all our makeup clues, and we get people on the same track. And it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
that's so good. Okay, I'm writing this down so I don't forget. So signups through September
Hmm.
for current one. And then, yeah. And then, like we said, first Friday of December.
Yep.
Perfect. And that's every year, last Friday of
Every
May,
year.
first Friday of
Yes.
September. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I have loved getting to chat business with you and just
Thanks.
understand where this came from for you because it's been
Yeah.
such a cool thing to see other people engage with. And now that I've got to experience a clue, I was like, oh, dang, this is actually so nice. So I can understand the hype now. Like, I mean, I could before because just the fact that like I saw Tula fabrics, I was like, oh, well, I
Hmm.
could get on board with this.
Yes.
But before we hop off of here today, do you have a tip or piece of advice that you would want to share with the
Mhm.
listeners?
Yes. Okay. So one of my favorite tips and tricks, and I am one of those people, like if I go to an Asian restaurant and they have good chopsticks, I'm stealing the good chopsticks, for sewing. So my little container next to my sewing machine has a couple of good chopsticks that I use for corner turning or any sort of, tight pieces or when I'm stuffing. Like a good chopstick is one of the most easy, it's like the easiest tool that's the least expensive, and so I'm a chopstick fan. I can also use chopsticks as like a roller press on a foundation paper piecing. I use chopsticks all the time, which sounds super silly, and then I'm super obsessive. Like in my purse right now I probably have a pair of chopsticks that we got at the last restaurant we went to, but yeah, chopsticks as a sewing tool, number one.
That is phenomenal because honestly, you're right. Like you don't have to go with like a conventional tool per
Mhm.
se. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on something if you can't just to get
Yeah.
something like you can use a chopstick. That's so
Mhm.
smart. I don't know why
Yes.
I never even thought of that. Oh my gosh. I know I'm like, I have these like this tube turner set. I've got like these different things
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I have so many chopsticks. What the heck?
I literally, and I mean the chopstick, because it's so long, like it can get to those corners if your hands can't get through the opening that you've created.
Yeah.
And I've done so many like stuffies for the kids where you've got the little things that
Hmm.
chopstick gets right up in there, takes care of it. Yeah.
Wow, that's so smart. Ooh, that's a good
Yeah.
one. And I'm sure that my listeners will be grateful
Hmm.
for that tip because
Yeah. And
again,
turning straps too. You just
yeah,
put it right in there and straps are turned.
perfect.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I love it so much. Well, thank you
Yeah,
again so much, Kim, and
thank you.
I've appreciated getting to know you, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to. I think I'm gonna join. I think I'm gonna join. I'm so
Oh, yay. Do
excited.
it. Do
I
it. Oh my
want
gosh,
to.
we would love to have you. You're in very good company if you do.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks
Okay,
again, and we'll chat soon.
you got it. Thanks, Amanda.